Hello everyone, welcome back. I hope your day is starting off just fantastic. Let's introduce the video here with this beautiful image behind me. This was posted in the I Choose Canada group by Mike. It's a photo of Sandy Island in Richmond, BC. Just spectacular, the fall colors, just beautiful. The topic for the video today is once again, our favorite arrogant American asswipe has opened his mouth. Who am I talking about? This is the asshole I'm talking about. Did I say asshole or asswipe? Makes no difference. He fits both descriptions. Now, why am I using such foul language? Well, just to return the favor. Reported here on CBC, and let me correct the title for them. The U.S. arrogant asswipe of an ambassador to Canada goes on expletive-laced tirade at Ontario's trade representative, witnesses say. The article reports here that the U.S. asswipe to Canada delivered an expletive-laced tirade at Ontario's trade representative at an event in Ottawa on Monday, multiple witnesses told CBC. Word spread quickly through some of the most powerful circles in Ottawa and Washington after the encounter, which happened during the Canadian American Business Council's State of the Relationship event at the National Gallery of Canada. Now, these type of events draw a mix of cabinet ministers, diplomats, and business leaders. Monday night's event drew Foreign Affairs Minister Anita Anand and Dominic LeBlanc, the minister responsible for Canada-US trade. Now, I searched throughout the internet to try and find a video of this encounter, but I could not find one. But witnesses say that the U.S. asswipe, Pete Hoekstra, launched into an expletive-laden tirade at Ontario's trade representative, David Peterson. One witness said that Hoekstra appeared to be upset at the anti-tariff ad that the province recently ran on television in the United States, which has infuriated President Donald Trump. The witness said Hoekstra could be heard using the F word and also mentioning Ontario Premier Doug Ford by name. So basically, this guy behaved like an asshole. But you have to remember here that he behaved like an asshole not just because he is an asshole. He's the ambassador to Canada. He behaved like an asshole because the asshole who is his boss asked him to behave like an asshole. I think I've used foul language enough in this video that it's going to be officially demonetized for me, but that doesn't matter. Thank you so much to my channel members who are supporting this channel. So when I can call this guy out for exactly what he is. It's important to understand what an ambassador is. The ambassador to a country works for his government, and it's his job to amplify the message of his government, to relay the feeling and the specific message that his government wants him to relay. Not much of what an ambassador says is just left to chance. Donald Trump was infuriated and incensed by the ad that Doug Ford aired in the US. That included Ronald Reagan's words. And he relayed his fury to this guy, who then messaged that to us. And so it feels good for me and probably most of you to return the favor to him and just call him an asshole and wonder, why is he even in our country? So now we're in a situation where this asswipe had to behave like an asshole in front of the business community and specifically target the Ontario trade representative, David Peterson. That wasn't an accident, okay? That was him amplifying the rhetoric from his boss directed specifically at a target. And this could be bad for Ontario. This could mean, I'm just speculating here, but I would not be surprised in the future if the attacks on Canada's auto industry are escalated. And one of the reactions now is that Doug Ford has gone public to try and de-escalate the situation somewhat. I'll play you a clip of his response directly targeting this asswipe.
The Mail has a piece that speaks about Ambassador Hoekstra, to use a blunt phrase, cursing out your Ontario representative in the United States at a meeting. What do you say to that? This was related to your advertisement related to Donald Reagan. Yeah. What's your response to Ambassador Hoekstra's words?
Come on, Ambassador. He's a guy. You know something? I like him. Pete, you got to call Dave up and apologize. It's simple. You know, the cheese slipped off the cracker. I get it. You're ticked off. But call the guy up. because you're a good guy, and Dave's my champion. The guy is just instrumental in these trade deals down in Washington. And, you know, some of the people get hot, they get heated. I get heated sometimes. But just call the guy up and bury the hatchet. Because the ambassador's a good guy, actually. I love Dave. I like the ambassador, so he knows what to do. Come on, Pete, you've been around for before Moses. Call the guy up and apologize. Let's start getting back on track. Simple as that.
No, I'm not going to have a go at all at Doug Ford with his response here. The guy did what he had to do. It must be so embarrassing or so... I wouldn't be able to do it, okay? I wouldn't be able to do it. Saying, well, I like the guy. He's such a great guy. Why can't we all just get along? That's what he had to do. That's his job. So well done, Doug, trying to de-escalate the situation. But now, can you imagine having to pretend to like or respect the ass wipe from the U.S.? And Doug does get a little bit of a dig in there. The cheese fell off the crackers. He has a way of putting things that are good. So no beratement of Doug Ford here. It's done, right? The ad was released. The reaction has happened. It's done. It's time for Canadians to move on. I'm here to tell you that I think it could escalate further, specifically towards Ontario and the auto industry, which is really the industry that Donald Trump is targeting head on. It's our most vulnerable industry, and I've talked about that in previous videos. And the fact that the ambassador targeted and had the tirade directed at the Ontario trade representative that's not good for Ontario. But rather than worry about the asswipe or the orange buffoon or any other American, it's time for us to realize that we have to look after ourselves. And Mark Carney, of course, has had to answer questions about this as well. And that would have been an easy opportunity for Mark Carney to throw Doug Ford under the bus and say, well, it was all Doug's fault. But listen to his answer to this question. I think it's just perfect.
Is the U.S. toying with Canada? And how did your relationship with Donald Trump go south so fast?
That's a question for him.
Yeah, you want to know why things fell apart? That's a question for him. Ask the big baby down south. So no beratement of our politicians in this video. What's done is done. Going forward, we need a plan, Canadians. All right, we need a plan. And Doug, you need a plan to fight for your province's industries. And I should also point out that Danielle Smith entered into this debate. She said, in a little bit of a condescending way, she thinks it was a good idea for Doug Ford to pull the ad. That's what she said. And Doug Ford had a response for her.
Well, sure enough. Yeah, well, of course, Danielle Smith doesn't like the ads because she's not getting her auto annihilated, her manufacturing, her steel, her life science sector. She has a commodity called oil that Americans need and want. So she's going to be fine. Ontario won't be fine if we sign a lousy deal. I'd rather have no deal than a terrible deal that will cost jobs here in Ontario.
So I have to say, well said to Doug Ford on that particular response. And remember, Danielle Smith leads Alberta, one of only 2 provinces who has lifted the embargo on U.S. wine and spirits. Wine and spirits are available on the store shelves in Alberta and Saskatchewan. Doug Ford was the guy that led the boycott. I just thought I'd mention that. You can make your own judgment on who is on Team Canada and who is maybe kind of has one foot on either side of center ice. So as I was saying, the best thing to do for our politicians, Doug Ford, the Prime Minister, everyone, is just to move forward with our business and forget about the Americans. The federal government can try its best to negotiate some sort of a side agreement on certain sectors, but no one's going to change Donald Trump's mind. He's just going to escalate as the big bombastic buffoon that he is, and he's going to use his mouthpiece asswipe of ambassador to relay those messages and amplify them at us. But we need to take care of ourselves. And so to end off this video here, let me just say, hashtag boycott US cars. Doug, your biggest industry is the auto sector, and the United States wants to destroy that sector. You need to go on TV and talk to people of Ontario and the people of Canada and say, okay, everyone, we're in the fight of our lives and we need to pull together now and we need to save our jobs at home. If you have plans of buying a new car in the future, don't buy a car that's built in America. Do not Support that economy. Support our economy by buying a car that's manufactured in Ontario. Let me post on the screen here the list of vehicles that are manufactured in Ontario. It's quite a list. Chevy Silverado and Silverado HD, Honda Civic, Honda CR-V, Toyota RAV4, Lexus NX, Lexus RX, Chrysler Pacifica, Dodge Charger, Daytona, Chrysler Grand Caravan, Ford Edge and Nautilus, and future production of Ford EVs and trucks. If none of those vehicles work for you and you still don't want to support the US economy, well, there's another list. Examples of car models imported to Canada that are not made in the US. Mazda, most models, such as Mazda 3, MX-5, CX-5, they're imported from Japan. Toyota, several models, including the Corolla Hatch, GR Corolla, BZ4X, and Land Cruiser from Japan. Hyundai and Kia, various models. Other European brands like Peugeot and Suzuki. Volvo, models like the EX30, EX40, EC40, made in China and Belgium. Specific models like Lexus NX, PHEV, RX, PHEV, and IS, also imported from Japan. There are a lot of choices of cars that do not support the US economy. And if we pivot our consumption away from the United States, it will crush their auto industry. It simply will, because we are their biggest customer. Doug Ford's talked about this in some of his speeches. We import more cars from the US than anyone else in the world. If US car companies, if they target our industry to get production, manufacturing to move back to the US, and we stop buying their vehicles, their profit margins will be crushed because they will only be selling to their own domestic market. And they already do that. All right, they already do that. They want to be able to build more cars and sell them to other countries. And really, their only two customers are Mexico and Canada. And Canada is by far the biggest customer of US autos. And all we have to do is boycott them. Now, Doug, I know you've been fighting hard and you've talked about this AmCam fortress, trying to preserve the integration of our industries with the United States because they are integrated. And he said in the past, you can't unscramble an omelet. You have to make the omelet bigger. He's fighting to keep the status quo and keep the industry like it is. But unfortunately, the Americans are attacking our industry. And eventually, we're going to have to realize that we have to pivot. And I will be 100% on Doug Ford's and Canada's side once he finally realizes that we're in the fight of our lives and we're going to have to pivot and make some major changes in our industry to keep our industry alive. And if it has to result in a boycott USA, just like he's the guy that started the boycott of US wine and spirits. And British Columbia should be thanking him because when Doug Ford pulled all the wine and spirits off the shelves in Ontario, Ontario is the biggest purchaser of US wine and spirits in the world. That sent a huge message, and the Premier of British Columbia started off only pulling wine from what he called Republican states, still allowing wine from California into BC. And he bowed to a pressure from his citizens who forced him to do a total ban. And what did this ban help? Who did it help the most? The wineries in BC. So people that care about the wine industry in British Columbia, those of you who live in the Okanagan Valley, you should thank Doug Ford because your wineries have had one of the best years they've ever had. That's the power of the consumer. That's how much power we have when we vote with our wallets. Canadians as a whole destroyed the U.S. tourism business. The U.S. tourism industry is going to have its worst year in 30 years, and ours is booming. And we can do the same thing with the auto sector. And when Doug's ready to be the champion for that fight, Doug, you don't have to spend $75 million making ads, okay? Call me. I'll make the ad for you for free. I'll write the script. We'll have some keywords in there that I'm sure will resonate with Canadians and galvanize us to focus and fight the fight. I'll come to Ontario. We'll record it. And I'll give it to you for free. You don't have to pay me $75 million, all right? I would fight side by side with Doug Ford and do my best to amplify the message to as many Canadians as I could. Because although I've been critical with some of the things that Doug has said, I don't always agree with what he said. When a bombastic, arrogant asswipe of an American takes a shot, it's time to drop the gloves and support your teammates. And if the Americans want a bench clearing brawl, we Canadians know all about bench clearing brawls. So that's my message for this video. I think there could be some hard times ahead before they get better, but we've got a lot of power if we galvanize our consumers to hit back the way I think we should. Leave some comments in the comment section, everyone. Let me know what you think of the asswipe ambassador and his latest antics. Subscribe to the channel if you're enjoying my content, and if you want to support my channel on a monthly basis, please consider becoming a channel member by clicking the join button. Have a fantastic rest of your day, everyone, and I will catch you all on the next one.